Magdan Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to welcome you to the second section of Magdan Distinguished Speaker Series today. We gathered to explore the pathway to creating a winning strategy for greatness, a topic that is both timely and vital for our future. This month has been incredibly thrilling. I had the pleasure of speaking with Flora, the winner of last month's challenge, to congratulate her, and I am looking forward to meeting her when she visits Accra. Additionally, our Magdan Ambassador community has expanded to over 41,724 members, and as at midnight yesterday. And we have some exciting announcements in store for our current members. If you are a young person and haven't yet joined our community, we encourage you to sign up at www.magdanambassadors.com today. We are honored to give the founder of Web and Software and Quest Ghana, Mr. Philip Gamey, with us, whose leadership and insights have consistently inspired innovation and growth. My friendship with Philip is over 15 years old, from a time when he was a Microsoft partner in Ghana and Google's partner for Google Apps in West Africa. He made about $12 million before turning 20 years old. This is incredible. As we embark on this discussion, let us embrace the opportunity to learn and collaborate, laying the groundwork for a brighter tomorrow. Thank you for being here and for your commitment to leadership and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good day. Good day. The president of the Magdan Ambassadors, Dr. Daniel Macaulay. Thanks for that interesting remark. And then also, thank you all for showing up today for the second Distinguished Speaker Series. I must say I'm very honored to share this platform with no mean the likes of Professor Kofi Abochi himself, who last week delivered one of the most powerful speeches I've ever heard, delivered as a keynote for a very long time. When I was invited by Dr. Macaulay to speak, I thought the times we live in, for most people, if you've not seen the word VUCA, you could look up on the internet. It's described as the most volatile, the most uncertain, the most complex and ambiguous time that man ever lived in. I thought we would discuss a topic about creating a knack for winning, creating a knack. And what I mean by that is to create a winning strategy. As an individual, as a young person, you must have a knack for winning. It must be something you create, you believe, and it drives you towards your purpose in life. And I believe this aligns so much with the effort that Dr. Macaulay has made over the years. And for those in the Magdan Ambassador community, I believe you are very familiar with his statement about you were born to be great. That's something he almost opens and closes every speech with, that you were born to be great. I remember those words as far back in the 2006 or 7 when we met. I remember those words re-echoing in my mind when he said those words. The big issue we are discussing relates to doing everything we can through a strategy deliberately crafted in order to help us bridge the gap, and to be able to drive us towards our purpose. Why do I say this? If you compare yourself to your contemporaries around the world, there's a lot of disparities, whether positively or negatively, on your side. That brings what we call the divide. We could compare this on the level of continents, of countries, and of indeed every individual. I see the average age of those in the room here is probably between the range of 24, 26, maybe there are a few 30s or few here. However, people your age, if you take the likes of Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and the rest, were able to probably advance and achieve so much more. And you probably have achieved also, but I believe it could have been better for you. And the difference here is to be able to take on this bold subject that is rarely discussed, of creating a deliberate strategy that makes you somebody that wins in life. In life, everybody is faced with three constraints. There's the constraint of time, of health, and of life. We won't be in the world forever. So at most, you'll be 100 years and you wish death probably swallows you. You must have a strategy, a deliberate strategy that makes sure whatever goals you've set in life is not waiting for you when you are 100 years old. You achieve it now. I've been telling people, if you divided your life in 4 quadrants, let's say you wanted to be 100, that would be 25 years each. You probably have spent a quarter of your life. If you are planning to leave the world at age 80, that means if you are 20 years old, you've crossed your first quadrant. Whatever it is, if the first quadrant of your life is your spring, the next one summer, fall, and winter, you must be able to prepare a strategy that makes sure you are using your life to achieve whatever you set for. A strategy might not be a guarantee for success, but it certainly makes it a lot easy when there's a plan. Like a great man once said, if you have a plan for survival, it is easy to go through adversities. To be able to achieve this, I want to share with you a concept in creating the substance, because strategy is in one sense substance and in another sense a form. So we should be able to create what I call the MVS. MVS for minimum viable strategy. Every individual will need a minimum viable strategy, one that is able to spell out where you want to be or where you are headed, where you want to go to. One that spells out your roadmap. So there are these 4 essential ingredients. You cannot skim away. However you want to formulate your strategy and include other bells and whistles, these 4 fundamental issues must be answered by your strategy. Number 1 is where you want to be. Number 2 is what your roadmap is in getting there. Number 3 is what are the risks, the potential risks you've identified and how you'll be dealing with them. And then last but not the least, you must be able to set what I call the EROS, the estimated return on strategy. What benefit, what reward, what do you anticipate as the potential outcomes for your strategy? They must be clear upfront and they must serve as your baseline as you try to achieve this. You want to give me a good attention because I believe they'll be making available the video on the internet. I know you are making notes and I really appreciate it. The MVS must answer the question of number 1, where do you want to be in the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years? If you are relating this to the little analogy I was giving about your life in 4 seasons. When a child is born, he's in spring. You know, spring is when everything is birthed and the flowers start to spring up and everything. That's why it's called spring. The first 25 years of your life is spring. It is the time to learn. Your strategy must involve everything about knowledge acquisition, preparing for your career, preparing for your future, because the next phase, which is your summer, between 25 years, as soon as you're 26 years, all the way to 50 years, your focus must be to be able to build your family, build your life, build your business, build your career, be able to buy the car you want to buy, be able to live the great life you want to live. You don't want to live your great life when you are 100 years old or 80 years old. And then the next phase after that, which is the fall, is when typically in the fall, winter outside Ghana, it's also called autumn. It's when the leaves fall off, are typical around Harmattan season. When the leaves fall off from the trees, because in life, you are going to come to a place where your youth can no longer remain youthful. Your life begins to give way. You have aches in your joints. I have a good friend who was on the board of Ghana Port when I was growing up, Mr. Krensil. And this man has grown to a stage where he was always an admirer. But here is the gentleman now in his old age, and he cannot do the things he wants to do. So anytime I meet him, I tell him, you are in your fall season. The last one is going to be your winter. After your 75 years, you are going to die whether you like it or not. You never grow young. You are growing old and weak and frail, and you are going to be leaving this world. So your strategy must be able to address where you want to be in each of these quadrants. Where do you want to be? What do you want people to remember you most for? In business, in life, in your communities, and then in your social endeavors. The second one is very, very important, and it's a sequel to the first one, which is, what is your roadmap? What is your roadmap? You must have it. If you don't have it, you have a goal. Having a vision without a plan to be able to achieve it is an illusion. You think you are going to get it, and it remains something you are hallucinating about. You must be able to realize your goal. And the only way to realize it is, I know my destination, I open Google Map, I have to punch the destination in there, and when I hit go, it must be able to give me a map as to how to get it. And when you've gotten it, you'd have to press the start button and start going towards your goal. Your roadmap is synonymous to the people you would need, the knowledge you would need, the resources, the financial investment you will need to make, and the considerations you would have to make to be able to get to the destination you've planned. If you remember very well, I don't know how many of you here watched Alice in the Wonderland. Alice in the Wonderland. Anybody remembers? Okay, a few of you. What it means is that you remember the part in the cartoon where Alice asked the cashmere cat, give me a direction to a place without telling the cat where she was going. The cat's response was profound, and that remained with me for most parts growing up. The cat said, if you do not know where you are going, any path leads you. It means in life, if you don't have a goal and you don't have a direction, it doesn't matter which road you use. That's exactly what the cat put it. It says, it doesn't matter the path you take if you don't know where you are going. So you've got to fix a roadmap. You have to know where you are going. Remember, number one, to have envision. Where am I going to? Number two, your roadmap. And then number three, what are the risks? What are the risks, and how will I mitigate this risk? It's very important. Now let's unpack this. If you ever read the book by E.O. Wilson, the gentleman, the celebrated Nobel microbiologist that died in 2021, may his soul rest in peace. He wrote a book titled The Social Conquest of Earth, in which he describes 4 species that have endured extermination, and in the long run will never see extermination till the end of the world, if there's one, he argues. And in there he discusses where we are from as human. He tries to find the answers to where we are from, where we are going, and what we are. And he discusses these species have endured extermination because they've always had a strategy. They always anticipate risk. He talks about 4 of the species as ants, termites, bees, and human beings. I'm sure you are wondering, all the dragons and those great animals that existed were exterminated, and some of them are running extinct now. You barely have the world shouting for elephants to not be killed in Africa. so that we could preserve their life. But bees, termites, ants, and human beings have endured. And whenever their predators try to attack them, they always do what we call the group protection. They try to preserve the interest of their group. That is one thing about risk taking. You must know your risk. He argues in the book that, for example, in the termites, they create 5 holes in hot climates like Ghana. They will create 5 holes in the earth. They enter in and out by one and use the 4 for ventilation, because they know the risk of bringing extra sand and mud to block those ventilation. You can imagine animals thinking ahead that, look, if I go into the extra holes, I'm going to be in trouble. And when it's raining, they never enter their holes. They wait. The ants, he argues in the book, are more heavy in weight than humans when you put all ants in the world together. But they are scattered across the planet so that people do not prey on them easily. You need to be able to know your risk and mitigate the risk. To mitigate risk in life, it doesn't matter your strategy. There's an easy to remember way of categorizing how you deal with your risk, because there are certainly risks. In as much as we want to be optimistic in life about achieving so much, you always want to have a pessimist approach. So we are talking about the situation where, for example, you've got a risk, and then how do you deal with it? The 4 T's. You would have to remember the first T is tolerance. You'd have to decide, do I want to tolerate this risk? Is this something I'd like to tolerate? Is this something I'd like to treat? Is this something I'd like to transfer? Or it is something that I want to terminate? There are your 4 T's. You have to remember them all the time. Identify your risk, the potential consequences or impact a negative occurrence could have as you journey towards your goal. That makes it 3 for us. Where you want to go to, you're envisioning your roadmap, and as well as your risk and your ability to mitigate. Then the last one, which is very important to know upfront, is what your estimated return on strategy is. You have your minimum viable strategy. Now, what do you expect as the outcomes? So that you know real time whether you are making it or not. It was Winston Churchill that made a profound statement. However beautiful your strategy is, however nice it is, you have to once every now and then go back and review if the results are a reflection of what you anticipated. Meaning you must have clear milestones. Imagine I was traveling to UK or to Kenya. I must know by a certain time I should be close to the airport. I should be getting close to the counter for check-in. I should be able to go through the inspections. If I'm not able to do all these things, I must know clearly that I'm missing my route. So you must be able to have what we call the expected return on strategy. Once you have the expected return on strategy, at each junction of life, at each turn of business, whatever endeavor you are doing, you'll be able to now take your actual return on strategy and compare it with your estimated ones and find out what to do to fix the gap. The other issues you may include, like after you've done all this, how to be able to estimate where you are and how far it is from where you want to be. That is called the gap analysis. And whatever you do from today must be an effort that moves you ever close to the strategy that you've set for yourself. These are very important. The other subject would be the concern of the form. After you've been able to come out with this great idea, strategy about business or whatever endeavor you want to take, you have to be able to decide, how am I going to communicate it? No man lights a candle and put it under the bushel. If you've got a great idea, you've got a new Facebook, an innovative WhatsApp, if you've got anything that is worth using, you must not keep it a secret. You must be able to sell it. And you are young people, you must always remember, your network is your net worth. So you must be able to sell your idea. You must be able to find partnerships. You must be able to collaborate with people that have the financial resources to be able to push your ideas. I remember in my first encounter with Dr. Macaulay, I just achieved some success by selling an application I did, a private internet service, and I'd realized a few millions. And when I met him, I'd blown half of the wealth on paying cash upfront for things I needed. But then he saw that as a potential risk and gave me an advice that became invaluable, which I will share in another Distinguished Speaker series if I'm called upon to speak. I won't say it for today because we like to keep everything to strategy for today. You must have a strategy. You must have a winning strategy, one that you believe in, and that must clearly state where you are going. Number two, it must be able to address the map, how you would get there, with what, how you'd execute. Number three, you must be able to identify all the potential risk or problems. And number four, you must be able to estimate the return on your strategy and compare it against the actual as you make progress towards those dreams. I appreciate your attention. I'd like to wrap up and take questions. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I hope this shapes your journey towards success in the next phase of life. Whatever you do, whatever your plan is, always remember, you were born to be great. And you must do all you can with your strategy in moving forward. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Philip, that's a great speech.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a great for the young people.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a very sensitive question. How can young leaders leverage technology to create innovative strategies that resonate with their peers and address the challenges they face today?
Thank you very much. And I believe this is one of the most important things that as young people you can face as you create a strategy and you try to make the most impact. Let me start by making a remark that is known by everybody. The internet forgets nothing. In the same way, this is mostly reference for bad things. It is a reference for good things as well. So as leaders, knowing that long before somebody would be willing to have a partnership with you, an engagement with you, the person would like to see your track record and your audit trail. I would encourage everybody that you must have a strategy around being able to leverage technology, be it social media, LinkedIn, your friends of influence, and what you post there must be an exact replica or reflection of how you want people to perceive you. Perception is reality in other sense. So as we use technology, particularly the public-facing ones, you will need a deliberate plan or program to promote your own brand because you are what you sell. In life, you get what you negotiate for. And don't forget that a virtual version of your track record in negotiating for these things is a trail you leave online. So whether it's TikTok, it's YouTube, it's Facebook, it's LinkedIn, particularly LinkedIn, you want to make sure your profile is up to date and very effective.
Okay, thank you. But let's link this to making money. We are here to make money.
Absolutely.
Right? To teach the young people out there how to make money in a very genuine way. Okay, what role do you see financial literacy play in empowering young people to develop and execute successful strategies in their personal and professional lives?
This is a topic that is certainly of interest to people because when you look at, let's talk about, for example, the most capitalized business in the world with over 3 trillion. We are talking about Apple. Apple, as the leader or the most capitalized corporate entity, has a strategy of managing its credit terms with its suppliers. So whatever strategy you have is going to be different for everybody. You shouldn't be afraid to take on an additional risk from giving credit. If you've seen the likes of in the software industry, for example, where I particularly work, you'd realize that for most softwares that have been able to make any impact, there's always a free trial. So you should be able to have a deliberate strategy that allows people to have what we call the end experience, the customer experience, by giving a bit of what you want to people at a certain financial cost. It's more rewarding in the long term than splashing money thinly on advertising. That is not to say that.
But the question here, we're talking about financial literacy.
Yes.
Yeah. How does it play in all this?
You would have to be able to be financially smart and astute. So you could have all the theories in this world about making some money. However, to be able to make good money, you must be able to spend. Financial literacy teaches you expense and revenue. You must be able to know the numbers. You must be able to keep your books. But at the same time, you must make a deliberate effort to invest. Linking it to the strategy session I've just delivered. You have to, I'm talking about the example, for example, of Apple, where it is a deliberate strategy. If you look at Amazon, let me give another example.
Well, come down to the guy on the streets of Choco.
Yes.
Who has the internet? He has a weapon in his hands, which is the mobile phone.
Yes.
Who have access to all over the world.
Good.
Or a first year or second year university student in KNUST. I mean, zero it down for us.
Okay, so maybe let me bring it down to the level that you're asking. So we change the question now. How do you leverage your financial acumen to be able to promote your strategy to bring you returns? Whatever you are doing with technology, with your phone, with your strategy, you must be asking the question, am I doing anything to bring in returns? Because there are two ways money is spent. Either your spending is a liability to you, or you invest in assets. If you ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad, there's the gentleman that gets the money and is already thinking, how do I spend on this? How do I spend on that? And then there's another rich dad who invests in assets because he's able to bring returns. So you must always ask yourself, my data, the money I'm using to buy data, am I spending on consumption, or I'm investing in something that creates a market and brings me financial reward? You could do something as little as having a strategy for opening a little store on Tonaton and get somebody to call you to sell something, than sitting in your corner and thinking you're on top of the world.
This is deep. This is deep. Okay. I don't know how many questions here, but let me ask you my last question. In your experience, what are the key that a young person must focus on to effectively to achieve something, you know?
If there's one thing that you must really focus on, it is service, and that must give you momentum. There's one thing Martin Luther King said, that if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. Whatever you do, make sure you are moving, and you must be moving at a pace that gives humanity something of comfort, something that solves a problem. You must be solving a challenge. Your strategy must not be akin to selfishness. It must be something that deliberately solves a problem for somebody in a way that makes the person willing to part away with money or a reward for you. That is how you succeed.
This is deep. I now understand why you were able to make $12 million at your tender age. I hope you have not finished spending that money.
That is certainly a question for another time, but I believe it's growing. The money must grow. It doesn't have to be like that. That's one thing I learned from you. When I met him, I'd finished half of my money, but he taught me a strategy to grow the money, and we've been friends ever since.
Okay, Philip, who are our winners for today?
So in October, we have the extra winner, the special prize for the Galamsey project, going to King Jerry. That's his other name, but it's actually called Benjamin.
Yeah.
So Benjamin did a beautiful creative work on Galamsey. Okay. And he wins 20,000. I feel we can give him 20,000 from your 10 million fund.
Okay.
And then also we have the second winner, Taste of the North, Winifred Zoya from the North, I believe, who has a project on shea butter and shea cosmetics, an amazing project meant to tackle environmental havoc. So he's also the winner of 10,000 cedis.
But why are you giving King Jerry 20,000?
I mean, the subject of Galamsey is a subject of common humanity, making sure we save environment, and then also it is a social cause project. So we need to be able to campaign effectively and make sure it goes down into those areas where Galamsey is taking place.
Okay, and I hope you're going to follow up to see what is going to use the 20,000
Absolutely. Would love to meet Jerry in the near future and have conversations with him about how the song impacted the work.
Okay. Thank you, Philip, for sharing your invaluable insight on creating strategies that engage and uplift young people. To our ambassadors, remember that your innovation spirit and drive are crucial to shaping the future. Let's continue to work together to unlock the new opportunities and create a lasting impact. Thank you very much. You can realize your dream. I believe we can support each other, conceive an idea, solve a problem, start an initiative, network, and even get dream funded. On the first day of every month, I will host a great person in my distinguished speaker series. After their presentation, my guests will award 1 Ghanaian from the 10 million Ghana cedi Magdan Innovation Challenge Fund. To get started, subscribe to my YouTube channel and sign up at www.magdanambassadors.com. Whether you just want to learn what entrepreneurship is all about, be empowered to take a bigger challenge, or you are actively growing your business and looking to scale or fundraise, you are in the right place. You were born to be great. Join me and let's get started.